Welcome to the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast. This podcast is designed to provide momentum in our God-given roles of leadership as we partner together to equip today's Christian leaders for tomorrow's opportunities. Whether you're a pastor, youth leader, ministry volunteer, parent, or student, we want to be your go-to and most trusted resource for equipping and encouragement when it comes to your ministry and leadership influence. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast. We're so delighted that you're with us. My name's Eric, and we got Jeff back in the house. In his house. Jeff's in his house. In his office. And it looks like his
Jeff
Wi-Fi
is in his house. And somebody's Wi-Fi is running slow.
Oh, man. Oh, so good. Jeff, we're wrapping up season 3, buddy. This is crazy. 3 seasons of the Momentum podcast.
Does this mean we get to take the rest of the year off? Like we just
sure.
Vacation now?
You're the president of Momentum. You do what you want.
Yeah. I always think about these guys. Like I'm watching the NBA playoffs right now, and they're always like, the teams that didn't make the NBA playoffs, they're in the Caribbean already. And I'm like, I think I would rather be in the Caribbean. So if you don't do well, you get to take an elongated vacation. If you do well, you have to work until mid-June.
Oh, that's so fun. I love it. Yeah. Perspective is everything, right?
That's right. What would you rather have?
Yeah. I'd probably rather have
Can I just say the mustache is a whole nother thing for you? Like if you guys are listening to this, you need to like turn it. Just go online simply to feel the full effect of Eric's mustache, and he's very committed to it. By the way,
I'm loving it. My wife is loving it too. By the way, we'll just leave it at
that. She likes the mustache.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Try it. See what Heidi does. Try it. Just try
Heidi would definitely have something to say to me about it. Yeah.
Oh man.
I shaved my beard one time. She's like, "Hey, cover as much of that face up as possible."
Oh man. I actually did this to go to Ignite Camp, our middle school camp that Momentum partners with last week, which was super cool. 30 kids came to know Christ last week.
Wow,
which
awesome.
we praise God for. But I just did it to be fun, and you get so many compliments, and you're just like, wow, like I feel good. I'm just going to keep the stash going, man.
Is it compliments or comments? Those are very different things.
I know. I think they're genuine. Listeners, help us out. Maybe we'll put up a poll or something.
You should definitely put up a poll on your mustache, and let's name it. So let's have so I will make sure that Momentum gives you a prize if you come up with the best name for Eric's mustache.
I love it. It's just fun. It's fun to do something different. I'm an Enneagram 7. I'm the extreme extrovert, so I need to mix up things in my life every now and again. So yeah, it's fun.
Eric, if you don't know Eric well, Eric is also easily the most optimistic person I know. So that's why when he's like, I get a lot of compliments, I'm like, do you? Or do you just interpret everything positively?
That's fair. I do think I get compliments, though. Yeah. And my wife's is all that really matters. I won't lie to you.
That's 100% true. As long as she's
happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Oh my! All right, Jeff. Let's kind of wrap up this season. We thought we'd spend an episode and just look back, and maybe even give our listeners. First of all, we want to thank you for listening. We are so appreciative of your fellowship. To use a Jeff made up word. We're appreciative of your partnership. We really, as Momentum Ministry Partners, our goal is to help resource, equip you, be partners of the local church, and a trusted resource. So we're delighted if we can do that in any way, shape, or form. But we want to just highlight some of the podcasts from this season. And Jeff, you made 3 of the top 5. Did you know that?
Yes. I just found out. That's, in baseball, that's Hall of Fame numbers right there.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's been fun just to track the analytics. I had to remind Jeff that I was on all 5 of the top 5 episodes.
Yeah.
But
So Eric's batting 1,000. That's right.
it helps when you're the host, I suppose. The fun thing is like seeing the traction of different subsets. This past season, we've done things specifically for youth pastors. We've done topics specifically to answer questions that students sent in and submitted. We've done things that would help local churches. We've done ones for parents. We talked about AI and can I trust my emotions? We talked about singleness. We talked about discipleship online, how to start an internship, thriving in student ministry. Sean McDowell was on and talked about making Jesus make sense. It's been a good season. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like you said, our whole goal is to be a resource and kind of an easy stop for people. And so thank you guys for feeding back to us. That's really our heartbeat is at Momentum Partners is always to come along beside the local church and the parents and the youth workers and students. So the more that you feed back to us, the more that we can actually answer the questions you're actually asking. And that's certainly been our effort here this whole year. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So, Jeff, for you as a senior pastor, when you find a podcast, maybe it's that episode that you're like, this is so helpful, this is good stuff. Like, what do you do with that? Are there episodes, I think I know the answer to this, but share a little bit with our listeners. Like, when you find that episode that's helpful or you find a tool or a resource that you think others would be blessed by it, like, what do you do with that?
I usually share it or I'll talk about it. And so to me, things that are helpful are things that help me think through something in a way I haven't thought through it before. Things that give me answers to questions I actually have. And then for me, I really enjoy listening to podcasts from people who I'm trying to understand. So, my young adult pastors and youth pastors will send me podcasts, and they're like, if you listen to this conversation, that's how a Gen Z person thinks or a Gen Y person thinks. And so I'm not really getting the information off of the podcast, like where they're solving my problem, but I'm getting an insight into the way that they think, and then an insight, therefore, into how I can communicate back to them. So when I get those things, I'll do that. Like I'll be like, Mom, Dad, if you want to understand the way your kid and their friends think, you should listen to this podcast. I like a bunch of podcasts, but Carey Nieuwhof is one that I always enjoy. And I like him because he's not the focal point of the podcast. He brings guests in, right? Yep. And so like he brought an atheist in, and it's like, if you were going to rebrand Christianity, what would you do? And I'm like, that's fascinating, because that's a worldly way of looking at the church. And like, I want to know that, and I want to understand that. So that's the stuff I look for. And I'm always interested in what people have to say, but I think what really, really fascinates me is the way people think. And I'm always interested to understand those elements of them.
Yep. Yeah, several of the podcasts that we did just on this season, the episodes, there were a few we did with Scott Price, who's a youth pastor here in the Akron area, is a veteran guy. We did one with Dave Nicodemus. Those would be even resources that a senior pastor could give to your youth pastor, to your interns, your residents. We did one on how to start an internship, that if your church has been toying with that idea of What does that look like? We'll learn from Jeff and how they did that at his church. And so we're trying to be that resource where if you're a senior pastor and you're listening to this, it may be helpful, that understanding the way people think and what steps to take, or maybe how to do that differently. Those are options that we would want to be a resource to give you so that you can start those things or help a staff member be effective and thrive in their ministry. I know for me as a youth pastor, I love what some of these episodes are because it's an easy way to send that email or to your parents. Hey, check out this episode. This is really good content for discipling your students. And then it builds trust for me as a youth pastor with the parents that I'm trying to engage with. So whether it's Momentum's podcast or others, be proactive. Youth pastors, do that, connect with parents in that way where you help build credibility as a trusted resource to the parents that you're trying to partner with as well. Jeff, other thoughts, ideas on how people can make use of that?
Well, I just love where you were going there as a youth pastor. So back in the day when I was a youth pastor, back when we did youth ministry right in the 90s, one of the things I did work really hard at was being that resource. So it's funny, and now I'm on the other side of it where I've raised and parented teenagers. And one of the things like parents, where they really struggle is like they don't understand the culture. It does move beyond you, and all of you guys who are like in your 20s, you're like, yeah, you got, it's like everybody is old around you because they are old around you, and your turn's coming when the culture, you will no longer be the cutting edge. Yeah. So if I can interpret things or help parents, or like you said, Eric, senior pastors understand a language shift and a thinking shift. I think a lot of times in ministry, we think a lot about what we think people should know or what we think they should ask instead of what they are actually asking or what they are actually looking to know. And so if I can start with where people are, they're much more apt to be open to me leading them to where they need to go with things. And so this is one of those resources. There's other ones, and we do a podcast at our church. It's called Mixed Messages with Jeff Bogue. And all we do is answer people's questions on that podcast. And it's the ability to have just a resource. It's like having a cup of coffee with somebody, and you can walk those things through. So yeah, I think the more as ministers and even as parents and even as students, the more we can position ourselves in a place to be helpful, that's awesome. And that's what we try to do here.
Yeah, I love it. Well, because it's the season 3 recap, I talked to our communications team and we wanted to do a little giveaway. So if you're willing, if you're listening, if you're willing, share your favorite share on Instagram your favorite episode. It doesn't have to be just from season 3, but share your favorite episode on your social media, on your story, on Instagram. Tag us, tag Momentum Ministry Partners at Momentum Ministry Partners. Tag us on that post, and then there'll be a form in our bio, and we'll make sure that you get that you can fill out, and we'll get your address, and we'll send you a podcast sticker, a limited edition, and just a thank you for being a faithful listener to the podcast. So if you want some Momentum merch and get a little podcast swag, share on your social media the Momentum podcast episode that you love the most. Maybe tell us why. Tell us why it was meaningful. So we'd love to send you a sticker and just a thank you note for doing that. I love giving out stickers and passing those out to people around the way. So do that. Tag us on Instagram and we'll get you a sticker. All right, Jeff, share a little bit just about our goal. Maybe give us a vision cast about how we want to be a trusted resource. I love where you were going with that. Part of our goal is really to be equipping to the local churches. We want to do this parachurch thing well. So share just briefly a little bit about that and how people can invest and partner with us together.
Yeah, so like Momentum Partners, we talk about equipping today to shape tomorrow, and what our role is to come along beside the church. And when I say the church, I mean, the organized entity of the church, the staff, the youth ministries, but also the parents and the students of the church. And our job is to help you as a ministry leader or a parent equip your kids and equip the people around you to be fully devoted followers of Jesus. And we do that by giving you resources and curriculums to help you do that, and ministry opportunities and environments where vision is cast. So the way that's going to play out is this: I'm a parent, I'm a youth pastor, I have a teenager that loves Jesus, or there's a young adult in the church. The question I would ask to you is there any place in their life where someone's giving them or challenging them to have a vision for what they can do for God? Like if you say, I want to go into business, like one of my sons went into financial management. And so I don't, so to say, care what he does for a living, whatever he's interested in and however God's gifted him. But I do care deeply. Does he have a passion and an interest in reaching his workplace for Christ? And does he have a passion and an interest of having a kingdom vision for his life? And so I care a lot about that. I bet you most parents care a lot about that. Youth pastors care a lot about that. And then, so usually the answer is yes. And then you would say, well, how do you cast that vision to that young adult or that student? And I would look and say, well, that's really hard and really difficult and kind of confusing. We came up with Momentum Marketplace to help you have those conversations. And the weird thing that is with Momentum, when you participate with Momentum doesn't take ownership of you. So you don't join Momentum. You don't become a part of like Youth for Christ or Young Life kind of a thing. And I don't mean to disparage those models. We're just different. All we do is assist, and all we do is come along. I was just having a conversation with one of our staff people the other day about mental health and how there's a mental health crisis all over the world in North America. And I'm like, that's something that shows up in a parent's life every day, in a young adult's life every day, and in a youth pastor's life every day. And nobody really knows what to do about it. And I'm like, we should tackle that because it's a need. When a youth pastor is running around or a parent is trying to work and raise kids and like they don't have the ability, and even as a church, if mental health was the sole focus of a local church, it wouldn't be healthy as a church. But I'm like, that's an area where we could help out. We could do that work. We could understand that work. So that's what Momentum does. Is we really look to serve. We look to hear the needs of the church, and I mean that like kind of organizationally as well as like spiritually. And then we look to step into those needs and make leadership development and discipleship and all that easier for the people who are actually engaged in the front lines. If you're a volunteer or you volunteer in a small group or you volunteer to lead a youth ministry, like I have small groups at my house, I know how it works. I come home from the office, screaming down the driveway, come in. We got to get the house in order. We're probably turning the dishwasher on as the doorbell rings. I'm throwing whatever's in the fridge down my throat real quick because I haven't eaten that day. And then suddenly, boom, I'm leading a small group. Well, that's where like resources help a ton. Video, printed things help a ton, because it even lets me as a leader shift gears.
Yeah.
So we'd want to empower those leaders. We would want to be a tool in the youth pastor's hand to empower his small group leaders. A tool in the pastor's hand, like you might say, we really need a young adult ministry. I'm not sure how to launch one. I'm like, well, Marketplace would actually be a great place to start that launch. So
Yeah.
it's that kind of stuff is really our passion, really what we do. And then I think the other part of that is we become a proclaimer of vision. Like, what if God will call you into full-time ministry? What if you thought of your Marketplace career differently? What if you approached your sports team in a different way than you're approaching it now? And we'll seed that vision. We want all that vision to go back to the local church and be played out in the local church, and then back to, it kind of cycles around, then how can we support you and help you with it? So servanthood is a big deal for us. We talk about that a lot. We say if servanthood's beneath you, leadership's above you. Partnership is a big deal for us, not ownership. Our job is to be in the background of the photo, not the forefront of the photo. And then just listening and hearing and meeting needs would be like a big conversation for us. And we believe that's what God's called us to do.
For sure. That's well said. Jeff, I think one of the underrated, I love even that example of like some of those resources that churches can implement, like Marketplace and starting a young adult group and those things. I just last week was talking to a senior pastor at a church plant. They're kind of, he's a solo pastor. He's the only person on staff. And he's like, I'm preaching Sunday morning, but I'm also Sunday night running the student ministry because we've got a dozen students who are a part of our church. And he's like, I want to reach them. He uses our Momentum Pro Plus resources, which if you're not aware of these, we partner with youth pastors who have been at their church for 4 years or more. They have the degrees in the education. They've got, ordained in their theology. We would look at and say it's good. And they write their own curriculum. They share that with us. Yeah. And it's free for other people to use. So just like in your small group scenario, if you're a solo pastor, if you're a volunteer and you're running the youth ministry, those are amazing resources that you can just go and download. And it gives you everything that you would need. The graphics, the social media posts, there's games on there. There's wonderful resources and ideas. So we love that. We love trying to figure out how we can put wind in your sail, as I like to say, as church leaders. So, Jeff, let's talk youth conference. We're counting down days instead of weeks and months now. We're closing in on Momentum Youth Conference this summer. We say it's the best week of summer. I just heard we had a meeting this morning that we broke 2,000 people who have registered. We're hoping for hundreds more, but we'd love to have you and looking forward to seeing you at Momentum Youth Conference. Jeff, give us a little preview. What can they expect for the people who are going to be there?
Well, you can expect a killer conference. It's going to be awesome. This is a prime example of where we try to listen to our youth leaders, and we would say it's your conference, it's not ours. We're just facilitating it. But we have phenomenal speakers coming in, some guys that you would be familiar with, like Mark Clark and other guys along those lines. Some new guys like Deontay Lavender is a pastor that I'm excited to introduce him to our conference. Kondo Sifukwe. If you're a youth pastor, you remember Kondo being there. Kondo's phenomenal, and excited for him to be here. And I could go on and on. Joel Fireball's coming back from last year, so we could go on and on. Probably the biggest well-known person that's coming in is Willie Robertson from Duck Dynasty fame, and Willie is he's coming in for our Marketplace Day. So we're launching Momentum Marketplace on a national level this year. And Willie is the CEO of a company. He has invented and refined a business in the entertainment industry. I mean, he's pretty remarkable. And he deeply loves Jesus and has a passion for lost people. And so It'd be great to hear from him and Jeffrey Kent, who's coming with him and kind of speaking those things. So, and I could go on and on and on. So lots of stuff there. We made some changes, so we're not going to have staff meeting every morning this year. A couple of our youth guys are like, "Can we sleep in once in a while?" We're like, "We hear you," and so
People
like
are clapping right now in their
yeah,
cars.
that's right. There's probably a standing ovation across the land. So that was literally direct feedback. They're like, we love it. This part makes it hard. We're like, well, maybe we can ease that up some, and
Yeah.
so that'll be a little bit of a change. Lots of something that was it was feedback, and then kind of a passion of mine is a lot of campus life stuff, like uh, places and spaces where the kids can interact with each other, uh, kind of unorganized lower key activities in addition to the sports tournaments and the 5K and the craft rooms and all those kind of things. So that'll be awesome. And then, just a vision of what God can do in your life, and great music, lots of fun. We're going to have a worship night this year. So about halfway through the conference, we're going to have a super like a low key session and be like, hey guys, let's just be with God here for a minute, and then we'll also kind of resource and make space for the youth ministries to follow up on that. So just neat stuff. One of the things I've been involved in youth conference for over 30 years now, and I always admired how the youth conference changed, how it evolved, how there was freshness, newness, variety, and so that's a part of what we're embracing this year too. So I think it's going to be a powerful week, a fun week, a different week, and yet kind of be grounded on the same excellence and same call to follow Jesus in a passionate way. So I'm excited to go. I for one, am going to have a great time.
I can't
And
wait.
yeah, and I think it's going to be that way across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, I love hearing from youth pastors and students and just the excitement level of the anticipation of getting all these people together on one campus. We literally rent a college campus for a week, and just bringing all these people together to worship Jesus, to learn from him, to be together. It's amazing. So as a student growing up, attending Momentum Youth Conference, and then being a youth leader, a volunteer, and then a youth pastor for a long time and bringing students, I can attest to the fact that this is a unique week where God shows up year after year and does something amazing. So
Yeah.
if you haven't yet signed up and registered, man, there's still time. You got to join us. If you're a parent and you're like, I'm curious what this is all about, check out our live stream. We live stream every session. You can check that out. There'll be links on our social media. There'll be links on our website. We go live on YouTube, Facebook, all that. So find us, follow the live stream. We'd love to have you be a part of that. And if you're close in the area, come be a day guest.
Yeah.
We do day guests. Come pop in. We'd love to have you. Love to check that out with you. Yeah.
The music will be loud. You will not sleep. The food will be edible, and it'll be the best week of your summer. It'll be awesome.
We'd love to help give you a new way of thinking. If there's somebody we can interview and pull on, we're happy to reach out to them and help make that possible. So you can email us, info@buildmomentum.org. You can DM us on social media at Momentum Ministry Partners. Call or text. We want to be a resource to you. So, Jeff, any final thoughts as we wrap up season 3?
Yeah, just thanks for listening, guys, and thanks for letting us be a part of your life and ministry. We really do love that, and really do think of it as a privilege. And I just can't emphasize enough that we take great joy in serving you. And so the more you feed back to us, and the more you tell us, hey, can you guys go work on this? I don't have the time. We love that. It literally puts a smile on our face, and we feel like it's where God has called us to be. So take advantage of that. You're making our day, and any way that we can lighten your load or help you is why we exist and what we take joy in. So thanks for inviting us in to be your friends in that way.
Yeah. So well said. All right. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you to our listeners. That'll do it. Season 3.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. We hope you found it to be valuable. And if you did, would you share it with someone else in your network who might enjoy it? Also, would you please go on and subscribe, rate, and review it? That way you don't miss any more and somebody else will be able to find it too. Also, because we want to be your trusted resource, if you have a question or topic that you would like us to discuss on an upcoming episode, send that to us via email to info@buildmomentum.org, or you can send us a DM on any of our social media platforms. You can find us there at Momentum Ministry Partners. Also, if you need more information on our ministry, be sure to check out our website at buildmomentum.org. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you next time.